Hello, I am Wiru, and today I am breaking down Azura from Fire Emblem so you don't have to. Well, what do we have here? A reasonable looking waifu that doesn't defy logic. Or so I thought until I saw her legs. Oh honey, no! What did you possibly do to deserve half a pant? Did they run out of fabric? Anyway, let's get analyzing. Before we begin, let me just do a really quick plug. If you love learning cosplay crafting with me, visit my website at akwiru.com and grab one of my books from the store. There's also a free archive of all the tutorials I've made on social media for you to look through, and a gallery full of pretty pictures as well. Also, please consider becoming a supporter on Patreon, where for any amount that you choose to pledge, you'll access all of my YouTube videos 30 days early. Plus, you'll automatically get a tutorial booklet and pattern of each part of a cosplay that gets complete. Thank you so much for letting me plug. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hello and welcome back to my cosplay workshop for another episode of Wiru Breaks Down Cosplay Designs so you don't have to. This is the series where I use my experience as a cosplay competitor and a judge to break down the cosplays that you want to do, identifying the easy and difficult parts of the cosplay and giving it a difficulty rating so everybody who wants to make the cosplay knows exactly what they are signing up for. Now today we are doing Azura from Fire Emblem, and this was a request from the lovely Mythic Wings cosplay. Thank you for the request, and that reminds me to remind you that this series is entirely powered by your requests. So if you want to see me break down one of the cosplays that you want to do, please leave me a comment with a request and I will queue it up as soon as I can. Alright, let's go doodle pad. I'm going to start off with the part that bothered me the most about her design, which is her legs. Now, I don't know if her costume designer ran out of fabric or there's something about her body that needs a leg exposed to keep her body temperature cool, but if I was going to make this cosplay for myself, there is no way I'm going to leave an entire leg exposed like this. So what I would do is actually make a full pant, but with an illusion of one leg being naked. So I've broken down her panties into three parts. One is just her triangle panties like a speedo, and then two is a leg that is made of white fabric as per the design, and three, instead of having nothing there at all, I'd suggest making a flesh colored leg with fabric that matches your skin tone, so you give the illusion of having an exposed leg, but you're really not. Basically with this idea, you're just making leggings with one side white and one side skin tone, and the advantage of this is not only do you get to keep warm during this cosplay, you can also get these leg garter ornament things to stay on your leg much easier, because now you can just stitch them onto that pair of leggings instead of having them tighten around your thigh and make you lose circulation during the day, or having it slip down every 2 minutes when you're walking around. Also, she's got some very conveniently placed details on her ankles, so you can just stitch those onto the end of your leggings and you'll have absolutely no seams to your illusion. Okay, with her ridiculous legs out of the way, we can talk about something much more satisfying, which is her fingerless gloves. You can either make gloves here, or you could just buy a party glove and snip the fingers off. They are very basic gloves, so there is absolutely no need for you to make them from scratch if you absolutely don't want to. I've just split up the gloves into three pieces. Let's start with number one, which is her shoulder piece. The only thing tricky about this glove is the shape of the shoulder piece. There is a little bit of a curve on her shoulder, which you could achieve by making the thing two panels and then having a dart at the top to make it go into the shoulder. And then the second and the third part, these are optional, because if you want to make your own glove, you can make the entire glove one piece. Or if you want to buy gloves, you can just snip the fingers off of a shorter glove and then extend the glove up to the length you want. Or if you're very lucky and you find the gloves that long, you can just snip the fingers off and have this all as one piece. Moving on to her wig. It is a really big hairstyle, but it is mainly just long and the style isn't exactly very complicated. The headdress is pretty simple. You can just get a headband and then sew some fabric on top of it. The hair itself might look really intimidating, but really the only scary thing about this wig is the length. And what I would actually do is get a super long wig and tie all of the hair into that tied up detail, so 1 and 2, and use all of the hair for the tied up details. And then for the rest of the length, I would actually cheat and not use real hair at all. Instead, you could get a light flowy fabric that matches the color of your wig, sew it into strips, and then attach it either to the end of your headdress or the end of your wig, and have that create the illusion of having a lot of long flowy hair. A natural challenge from having a wig this long would be all the tangles that come with it. And I do have a little trick that could keep your wig nice and tidy throughout the day. And that trick is to sew some tubes out of chiffon fabric to keep your hair inside of. I actually learned this trick from watching a lot of Sailor Moon musicals, because that is how they keep all of the Senshi's hair from going everywhere during the action scenes. And it is a really effective method, because even if you leave the tube in throughout the day and on stage, it is nearly impossible to see because the chiffon is so transparent. It obviously worked for the professional production, so I hope it will help you out as well. Back to the doodle pad for her main garment. This is actually one of the most reasonable waifu main garments that we have seen so far on this series. It's just 3 pieces, 1 for the neck, 2 for the bodice, and 3 for the 3/4 circle skirt. There was a lot of debate on whether it was a full circle or a 3/4 skirt, but I think the general consensus on everybody that I consulted who was a seamstress was that it was a 3/4 skirt. Notice how her skirt goes out and then it bunches in a little bit before going into the frills. So that just means the skirt needs to be gathered at the hem before we add the frills on. For the frills, I think they just look like giant box pleats to me, and then you can make them look extra frilly with horsehair braid. This is so nice and reasonable. I'm enjoying this a lot. Last but not least, we have her spear. Personally, whenever I'm looking at a prop, I'm always looking for ways to make it dismountable for travel. So looking at this one, I think I can see it in 4 pieces. 1, the bottom piece. 2 and 3 are the main poles, and 4 is the spearhead. The bottom piece is actually the part that needs to be the most durable and hard, because when you're holding this prop around a photo shoot location or a convention, this bit on the bottom of the spear is the part where you'll naturally poke the most into the ground. So if you use something soft or flimsy for the bottom of this spear, you'll just end up with like a doing at the bottom of your spear at the end of the day. Parts 2 and 3, the main pole, could be a wooden dowel or a PVC pipe, depending on how lightweight or heavyweight you want your prop to feel. You could even leave the main pole as one piece and not have it break apart at all, because it really isn't that hard to travel with a pole, whether you're driving across the states or traveling overseas. Most airlines are used to people checking in giant things like a surfboard, so if you go in with a broomstick, they will not bat an eye at all. So breaking the pole down into 2 parts is completely optional. The final part of the spear would be the main feature, which is the spearhead. I would make this thing with a single sheet of something hard, like a thin piece of MDF wood, and then decorate the bevels with foam clay. So this way I can get a really nice balance between having it nice and durable and also lightweight as well. Also, a very convenient thing about this spear's design is that it is really flat. So after you've broken down everything for travel, it is super easy to just flat pack. Overall, I think this design is really reasonable. If I had one word to describe this design, it would be reasonable. The only real challenges I can see with this project is getting the shape of the skirt right and keeping that long ass wig nice and neat throughout the day. So without further ado, it is time to give this project a difficulty rating. I think I will give Azura from Fire Emblem a difficulty level of C-, which means no matter whether you're a beginner or an advanced cosplayer, as long as you know a couple of nifty tricks, there is absolutely nothing in this costume that can possibly scare you. And there you have it, I broke down Azura from Fire Emblem, so you don't have to. Do you have a project you want me to have a look at next? If you do, please leave your request in the comments and I will queue it up for you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching this episode. As usual, I hope you found my thought processes useful for your cosplay journey. I want to thank everybody on my Patreon and Twitch for making this series possible, including everybody on my right pledging $5 or more, and special thanks to everybody on my left: Jonathan, Chad, Sylvia, Hello Lelo, Anna Messa, Just Believe Cosplay, April, Natalie, and Mary Deignan for pledging more than $15. Thank you so much for your love and support. I will see you in a future episode very soon, but meanwhile, please stay crafty.